son took that over from me in 2007, and he's still in the White House managing U.S. government-wide search. And we do not compete. I do the intel community, and he does the executive branch and legislative and judicial. I do a free blog, and you can look at it. It's updated every day. And there are other blogs that I do. They're very useful. And you want to see that because this is an example of the method in action. So you can read the blog and you'll hear and see what's going on. So this is a test that I use wherever I go in the world. How are your current marketing programs working? Everybody thinks they're working great, right? Good. And then you jump right into the issue of Google and PageRank. This algorithm actually dates not from 1998 when Google became available, but the core of this method originated with John Kleinberg and his Clever system, which came out of Cornell University and migrated to IBM. The Google guys picked this up and combined it with other techniques, and there's a lot of ways to explain it. But what we have been living in for the last 12 years is a situation where you use keywords to get traffic, and the traffic sends you to a web page with links. The more links you have pointing to you, and the more the keywords fall into what is called the semantic vector. Like if you index a dog site using the word Corvette, you'll get in trouble. You want to index dog sites with the words, Weimaraner, that kind of stuff. Semantic vector. But this is now 2011, and Google is a vastly different company now. It is not the leader in search. If you want to find the leader in search, you look at Facebook, because people spend 6 to 7 hours a day within that environment, and that is their information context. So the problem is, how do you get found in Facebook? How do you make that environment work for you? Google doesn't do a particularly good job of that because they don't have the investment in Facebook Microsoft does. So if you look at Bing results, you'll see Facebook integrated, not exactly in real time, but close enough for horseshoes. If you go outside the U.S., there are other methods of getting information, typically through filters on mobile phones. All content outside the U.S. is going to be filtered either by the government or by the operators to deliver an experience on the mobile phone, because you cannot drive in traffic in Hong Kong and do a search on your laptop. Okay, a taxi driver here may, but that's not going to work elsewhere. So what we're into now is essentially a game where we have a dominant provider. 65% of the web traffic in the U.S. is through Google, but in Denmark, 99% of the web search traffic is through Google. And so Google is a dominant force, and they control the rules. As the economy tightens, it's mandatory on them. They have to adjust the rules in order to deliver shareholder value. That means they must generate money. They have to respond to the constraints on which a public company. So there is going to be increasing fiddling going on. And just like a casino, you want to keep in mind that whoever has the gold makes the rules. With Google, with the dominant share, is going to make the rules. Facebook, with the dominant share, will make the rules. China Mobile, with the dominant share, will make the rules. So if you're going to get traffic, you have to understand the rules, and you have to have a way to work within this environment. This is vastly different from what 99% of the people do. They simply put up content, index it, and hope for the best. It's just not feasible anymore. You need a different method. The method is the physics of information. We know that SEO alone does not work, and I'm one of the most outspoken critics of SEO, and I dropped out of talking at the Danny Sullivan conferences in 2001 because the people in my session said, how do I become number one? And that's not my game. I cannot make anyone number one. I can influence a semantic environment, and as Bob saw last night at dinner, it sure looks like you're number one. But that's not my goal. The goal is to alter the way in which things are perceived. That may result in a number one, but it also results in availability on a mobile phone in China. It also results in appearance or traction in Facebook, LinkedIn, yada yada. And the goal that we have to recognize is money is the big deal. You're doing this stuff not for personal aggrandizement. You're doing it in order to have a business or generate. Now, there are a lot of people on the circuit, and I no longer go to conferences. We talked about this last night. I'm not doing talks at the big trade shows anymore. I just don't do it.